Okay, my name is Reg Crowshoe. I'm from the Piikani First Nation. My Blackfoot name is Awakasina. In our language, it means deer chief. That's a Blackfoot Piikani language, and that's the language I speak. I just want to say that I want to start out with a smudge. In our culture, smudge is very important. Smudge, when we light the smudge, it sets a formal um, place where we can tell stories in a formal way. Uh, and in our culture, stories are important. Stories, I would say we're an oral culture, and stories talk about relationships between nature, other human beings, animals, and the universe we live in. And every time they interact, those interactions create experiences and stories. So those are what we're talking about today, because those stories, we bring them to the smudge, and when they're smudged, they become um, formal stories, not just any stories, but a formal story. So for oral culture, our practice with the smudge is important, so that we can talk about an oral story. So with that, I'm going to start with a smudge. So this is the smudge, and I'm going to put the herbs on it, or the sweetgrass. And as the smoke comes up, the smoke connects us with Creator so that we tell the stories the way we heard them. Ayos chipetapio, ayo napi na dosi. O kidad skachimada Christikui. O kisfumoki nana psato kinikaya gichinikatoki. O kinachika kuchichiniksi, anik nanistochi piktagochi, okchi, o inachspomoksi, annaka sitapi, manitapi, maksipi, kudstapi, chisawa chiniksis. O kinukohtua dom kinama. Nikso koeks nog kajuhtuai, naachsiks nog kajuhtuai. Raksika kutsi puja kaniksi johti. Toki ei tämä kammutaan nan kristikui. Istis sinut spannikum krististomsen. Akso sinäkin sitä piiminnu, niin mahkumanista aikaa. Oki kakoksis katopea kammutaan. Esto vatsimmaan, ahsipäätä piossa, nanjai. The first story I want to talk about is the story about pandemics. And I was talking to my father a few years ago. We lost him in 2000, but he was born in 1889. And at that time, he lived his 100 years. And about 25 years ago, we sat down many times to visit, but we were visiting, and he was talking about stories about the smallpox. The smallpox was a pandemic, and he spoke to smallpox from two perspectives. One from a Western physician's perspective, and one from the traditional healer's perspective. So when he was talking about our traditional healer's perspective, he was saying that through our creation stories and through our connection with nature, those connections with nature gave us medicine, gave us knowledge of how to administer medicine, and we understood it through our language. and our ceremonies. So he talked about how the medicine people were given herbs and plants as medicines. But through the many thousand years of contact, they understood things about what is blood, what is bone, what is if your body gets hot, what is temperature, what is fever. They understood all those, and through those stories, they were able to put medicines together to deal with these sicknesses that came. So that was their connection with the land that allowed them to become medicine people. And through the smudge and the ceremonies, they were validated as healers. So they healed other people. So back in 1850, one of the first pandemics that he talked about was 1850. The government did a head count of Piikani Indians in southern Alberta. And that head count, they had 4,000. In 1850, they said there was approximately 4,000 Piikani members. Between 1850 and 1883, the relationship with Indigenous and the newcomers was still struggling. The government then introduced and gave to the Piikani First Nation blankets that were infested with smallpox. So as our ancestors accepted the blankets, they didn't know there were smallpox on them. So by 1883, there was, looking at out of the 4,000, we looked at 2,600 died from the smallpox. And out of that, the ones that didn't contact smallpox was about 900. So between those years, the medicine men dealt with this umakapiksin as through their traditional medicine. They were helping some of our people survive. But also there was a doctor, his name is Dr. Walker. He worked with the Piikani in South Piikani, and he estimated that there was the same numbers that passed away and survived, and there was 1,300 that survived. But he said he couldn't understand why the Indian medicine man and his ceremonies were doing a lot better than the white man physician that was appointed by the government to look after the Indians. And as I read his journals, he wrote in his journals, he said, the Indian medicine man, through his trickery, through his magic practices, and he discounted any of our knowledge and called it trickery and mysticism. He said through that mysticism, he couldn't understand why he was saving more Indians than he was. So that was the relationship back then. So he was trying to convince the Indian healers to take on Western medicines to deal with this pandemic. But our elders used our knowledge, our ceremonies to treat this pandemic. So today I hear the elders saying, we've already distanced the young people from our knowledge. And today's epidemic is starting to be different because our young people that don't have access to our knowledge are confused. They don't know what to do. They're scared. They're worried. And we need more of the elders to come back and start working with them through our smudge, through our practices, our language, and our stories to give them confidence to say, we can't, and these are some of the lessons we learned from those stories back then. We can let the sickness consume us, because if it does, and we can't separate ourselves from the sickness, then we're going to get sick ourselves. We look at things like social isolation and staying home, then those are protocols. We understand those as protocols to the sickness, because the sickness is another creation and it has protocols. If we follow those protocols, we're going to survive. So those are the beliefs that come out of those stories that help us survive these pandemics through our belief systems. And we need to give our young people some of those systems today. Anya.